If your presentation sounds like a brochure, your customer is probably going to treat it like one. If your process feels flat, forgettable, or easy to ignore, you're making the sale a lot harder than it needs to be. Today we're talking about how to make your ideas memorable, emotional, and worth acting on, and how to challenge yourself to rise to higher levels in your sales game, or really anything in your life than you ever thought possible. This is not an episode to miss. Hello, I'm Frankie, founder of Auto Dojo, the path to excellence, and welcome to today's Auto Dojo Quick Hit. 5 minutes, one skill, zero excuses. Let's go. Dale Carnegie's 2 lessons here are simple. First, dramatize your ideas, then challenge yourself with fuel that feeds your fire. Not your managers, not your parents, not your spouses, yours. So let's start with the first lesson. Don't just list your product's features. Make it feel real. Make it stick. In sales, that matters because people don't buy from facts alone. They buy from the feeling a product creates, the experience it gives them, and the picture they can imagine for their lives. That's why the test drive is so important. It's not just a drive, it's your chance to make the car come alive. If the vehicle is quiet, set up a situation to let the customer experience the quiet. If it handles well, let them feel it in the turn. If a feature creates peace of mind, don't just name the feature, create the moment where they can feel the benefit. That is dramatization. That is influence. The mistake I've seen so many salespeople make is rushing through the experience like they're checking boxes, or what I call pencil whipping the process. 4 right turns around the block in 5 minutes does not create emotional connection to the vehicle you're trying to sell, and it does not create a sense of ownership. It creates a transaction. But when you slow down and help the customer experience the product in a way that connects to what they care about, the sale becomes easier because the value and the emotional connection become real. Think about that Subaru commercial from a real customer experience in 2014. It barely said anything verbally, but the image told a powerful story: safety, family, life, survival. That is dramatization. It was not about facts and figures. It was meaning. That is what great salespeople do. They don't just describe the feature, they help the customer feel the outcome. That means your greeting, your needs assessment, your presentation, test drive, negotiation, and your delivery should all have more life to them. Not fake energy, not cheesy gimmicks, just enough impact and emphasis to make the value memorable. If the vehicle has emergency braking, create a safe, controlled environment in your parking lot where the customer can see the system in action. If the ride quality is exceptional, program a stretcher road on the test drive where they can really feel it. If the cabin is quiet, let them hear the silence. If you have a state-of-the-art sound system, intentionally choose some music that enables them to hear the depth of the quality and how it stands out. Let the experience tell the story. The second lesson, tap into something that all of us have within us in one form or another: our competitive nature. Sometimes money is not the big motivator. Sometimes the real motivator is a sense of pride. Sometimes it's security. Sometimes it's the feeling of proving to yourself that you can do hard things. And every successful person loves the game, and they love winning it. And that's because competition gives people a chance for self-expression. It gives them a chance to prove their worth. And for a salesperson, the strongest competition is not the person at the next desk over. It is you versus the version of you that used to avoid discomfort. I know what that looks like. I grew up the youngest of 6. My older sisters were great at everything. They were top-level scholars, accomplished, incredibly musically talented, and very popular. I was the black sheep, I was the tomboy, I was rebellious, and I got into trouble a lot. And for a long time, I heard their little sister instead of hearing my own name. And now I'm so grateful for that because it lit a fire in me. It made me fiercely competitive. I got tired of being overlooked. I wanted to be important and be noticed. I wanted to prove that I could do hard things. I wanted to become the kind of person who could win. That is the kind of competitive nature that is life-changing. Not beating somebody else just for the sake of it, but refusing to stay where you are. Asking yourself, what am I going to do this month that I didn't do last month? What uncomfortable thing am I going to lean into so I can get better? What challenge am I willing to take on so that I can prove to myself that I can grow? That's the challenge I want every single one of you to feel. Challenge yourself to make the tougher phone calls, ask for the appointment, ask for the close, follow up when you would rather avoid it, and stay in the process when it gets uncomfortable. Challenge yourself to do the things that the old version of you would have backed away from. That is how you get better, that is how you build momentum, and that is how you win. I watched a salesperson recently go from underperforming to doubling his sales in a month because he decided he was not going to stay the same person. He went from selling 4 to 6 cars a month consistently to 12 just last month, when all the other sales consultants who had always far outsold him only sold 10. His posture changed, his energy changed, his confidence changed. I saw a light in his eyes last month that I hadn't seen before. Why? Because he got competitive, and that competition pulled something stronger out of him. He stopped being passive and started pushing himself, and he started to see what he was really capable of. That's the lesson here. Make your process dramatic and memorable, and challenge yourself to go to a level where you have never been. When you dramatize the benefit, the customer can feel it. When you challenge yourself effectively, you become more disciplined, more confident, and more dangerous in the best way. That is the way of the Auto Dojo ethical warrior. So go do it now. For your next 3 customers, do these 3 things. First, dramatize one feature so the customer can really feel the benefit instead of just hearing it. Second, make the test drive more than just a loop. Make it a memorable moment. And third, choose one uncomfortable action this week that you've been avoiding and challenge yourself to do it before the week is over. Why is this important? Well, because people remember what they feel, not just what they hear. And people grow when they challenge themselves to do things they have not done before. When you dramatize value and use competition the right way, you become more memorable, more influential, and more effective. That means more customer trust, more personal confidence, more profitable referrals, and a more successful business. And it means you are no longer playing small. So go take action, keep the customer first, and go dominate your floor. To receive these directly into your inbox every week, scan the QR code you see here, and I look forward to serving you in the Auto Dojo soon.